I was 22, and in the middle of a spring break road trip with two friends when this happened. We'd planned the whole thing out. Zion, Bryce, Moab. We packed the car with camping gear, snacks, and way too much iced coffee. The trip you circle on the calendar and look forward to all year. Everything had gone smooth until that afternoon. We'd stopped at a remote trailhead in southern Utah, somewhere between Escalante and Boulder. There was no reception out there, but the views were insane. Jagged, red rock for miles. The kind of place that makes you feel like you're walking on Mars. I got tired halfway through the hike and told the girls I'd head back to the car. They were cool with it and gave me the keys. I figured I'd just chill in the car with the windows cracked until they came back. But after about 30 minutes, I remembered we were running low on gas when we'd pulled in. Stupidly, I decided I'd try to drive to the closest town to fill up and then circle back before sunset. The gas light had been on earlier, but I thought maybe I could make it. Big mistake. The car started fine, but within 10 minutes of bumping along this long, dusty back road, the fuel lights started flashing again. Then the engine started to sputter. I rolled to a stop near a patch of dried-out scrub and silence. Just like that, I was stranded. No bars on my phone, no idea how far the next gas station was. And the sun was already heading toward the cliffs. I felt that uneasy pit in my stomach start to grow. I sat there for maybe 20 minutes, hoping someone would come by. Every time I thought I heard an engine, it was just the wind or the shifting metal of the car cooling down. I stepped out, paced around the car, checked the sky. Nothing but blue, fading to orange. The longer I waited, the more alone I felt. Finally, a vehicle appeared in the distance. I stood and waved both arms like crazy. It was an old rusted red pickup, the kind that looked like it belonged in a movie about desert outlaws. As it got closer, I could make out the driver, a guy somewhere in his 40s, maybe 50s. Dirty baseball cap, grimy beard, one arm out the window. He pulled up beside me and looked me up and down with this weird grin. "Ran out of gas?" he asked, leaning out. "Yeah," I said, trying to sound polite but firm. "Is there any chance you could help me get to a gas station? Or maybe give me a lift?" He laughed, not just a chuckle, a full laugh. The kind that makes you feel small. He shook his head and said, "That was dumb. Pretty girl like you should know better." Then, still grinning, he hit the gas and drove off. I just stood there with dust in my mouth, watching his taillights disappear around the bend. I didn't know whether to scream or cry. My chest was tight, my heart pounding like crazy as I walked back to the car. Then, it started getting colder. I got back in the car and locked the doors. Didn't want to waste battery running the AC, so I cracked the windows and tried to calm down. I kept thinking the girls would come back soon, that I'd hear the sound of their voices or the crunch of their hiking boots. But the sky kept getting darker, and the red rocks started turning purple, then black. The desert feels different at night. Bigger, emptier. Every sound feels closer. I kept seeing things move out of the corner of my eye, just brush shifting in the wind. But it didn't feel right. I tried turning on some music, but shut it off after 30 seconds. Even the sound of my own playlist felt too loud, like it was announcing I was here. Alone. An hour passed, then 2. That's when I saw headlights coming back down the road. Same red truck, except this time, there was another person in the passenger seat. A guy wearing a hoodie, face shadowed. They pulled up slower this time. No words. The truck idled for a second, then rolled right next to my car. The driver leaned out and tapped the side of his door with a wrench. The guy in the hoodie got out with a flashlight. He walked up to my window and knocked, light in my face. I didn't move, didn't say a word. He knocked again, harder. Then the driver called out, "You sure you don't need help now?" My pulse was thumping in my neck. I kept my eyes down, hand on the lock even though it was already down. I reached for the keys, but I'd already taken them out of the ignition hours ago. My fingers were shaking. My breathing was loud in my ears. That's when I remembered the horn. I slammed my hand into it over and over, just kept laying on it like a maniac. The guy with the flashlight stepped back. The driver shouted something I couldn't make out. Then the guy bolted, ran into the passenger seat like an animal, and the truck took off, just disappeared into the dark. I didn't stop honking for another minute, maybe two. Eventually, I saw headlights coming from the other direction. A park ranger truck. He pulled up beside me and I must have looked like I'd seen a ghost. The guy asked what happened. I just blurted it out, fast and all over the place. He looked around with his flashlight, but didn't see anyone. Then he said something that still messes with me. "Plenty of bad folks out here," he muttered, scanning the darkness. "If you're ever stuck like this again, you better have a plan. Don't go unprepared into places like this. Out here, help doesn't always come when you need it, and the wrong kind of people notice that fast." I never saw the red truck again. The girls got back about 20 minutes later. They'd figured I went for gas, then started hiking back when I didn't show up. We all rode back to town in the ranger's truck. Dead quiet. No one said much. Since then, I don't stop on empty roads. And I don't assume someone with a smile means help is coming. Some people laugh because they're nervous. Others laugh because they already know what they're going to do. I work in wildlife ecology, mostly on contract projects that have me in the field for weeks at a time. Back in May 2023, I was in central Colorado doing habitat mapping in some of the lesser trafficked parts of a national forest. My job was to record vegetation patterns along a remote trail system that had recently been expanded. I was genuinely excited to be out there alone. Just my gear, the open air, and a clipboard of checklists. Fieldwork like that always gave me a sense of purpose. No emails, no deadlines, just observation and data. It was a long solo hike, about 14 miles round trip. I'd parked my Subaru at a gravel pull-off just after sunrise, logged the waypoint into my handheld GPS, and headed out. Standard stuff. The air was clean and quiet, just the way I liked it. I saw fresh deer tracks, some fox scat, and a golden eagle circling over the ridge. There were no signs of human activity aside from faint boot prints likely left by a trail crew weeks earlier. Everything about the day felt routine, until it didn't. The only thing I hadn't anticipated was how low my fuel was when I got back to the car. The gauge hovered just above E, and I had no signal to check how far the nearest town was. I remembered passing a ranger station maybe 10 miles back, and figured I'd just take it slow, conserve what I could, and head that way. I didn't panic, just took it as a minor logistical error. Worst case, I'd park at the station and wait for a ranger. I'd just gotten onto the main fire road when a white truck pulled up behind me, flashing its lights. I slowed and rolled to the side, thinking it might be a ranger. Sure enough, the truck had Forest Service markings